First off, let me get something straight. Biologically, I'm your dad. Outside of that, I am not your father. See, a father is present through love based off of a love kid, a love child. I am not your fucking father. Biologically, I did help create you. But outside of that, I want no parts. I'm nobody's father. I promise you that.
LowTierGod is a name that rings across the internet for being mired in countless controversy, from insulting the late Robbie legs about his disability.
I don't give a fuck what that ugly ass slobbering half of a man is saying. I'm not gonna do anything to give that ugly worthless specimen anything to gain any type of notoriety to his pity name. No one gives a fuck about that slobbering ass motherfucker. So who gives a goddamn? If you want to talk shit, then you can get clowned like you're an actual full human being.
To insulting Ceroblast about their transition.
That's exactly why I got this dude blacklisted. He ain't trans. He didn't fucking get his dick slit. He ain't got the balls for that. If you're a real tranny, a real transsexual, cross-dresser, whatever the fuck you want to call it, get your dick slipped. Stop being scary. How you gonna go 50%? If you really about that life, get your dick split like a fucking hot dog. Let them tuck it in. Make a pussy and a clitoris out of your dick, scary ass motherfucker. While you sitting here playing Street Fighter, bitch. Playing that shit 24/7. Really be about that life and really get your dick split and turned into a vagina.
And the countless hours of video of hateful content spewed from his mouth on a daily basis. There is no shortage of negative content out there about LowTierGod. But when it comes down to it, all of that is just relegated to the internet. Really and truly, there is very minimal real-life impact about all of the nonsense that LowTierGod spreads all over the internet. But in the summer of 2024, it was exposed that the extent of LowTierGod's negative behavior did not end at the internet. It was revealed that he isn't just a character. We finally got certifiable proof that LowTierGod is everything he shows us, a terrible human being. In the summer of 2024, a member of the LowTierGod troll community took it upon themselves to look into his personal finances and pull his full credit report. In that credit report, it was revealed that he has over 6 figures in unsecured debt. But even more interestingly, there was a child support lien that had been opened and closed within a year. After a little more digging, it was found that LowTierGod in fact had a child in 2014 that he'd kept a secret from his community and from the internet at large. And while that act in and of itself isn't a negative, if you are a content creator or a public personality, it may be imperative that you hide a lot of your personal life away from the internet because of the fact that there may be a lot of individuals who wish you harm and may try to affect the people in your personal life. But that wasn't why he was hiding it. He was hiding it because he had never interacted with the child. LowTierGod is a deadbeat father. He abandoned that child. And while I can spend all day going over all the evidence in relation to this, there's much more value in hearing the words from the mouth of the mother of the child herself. So I took the time to sit down with her in a call and have a full interview discussing LowTierGod, their relationship, and all of his characteristics as a deadbeat father. If you wish to get more backstory around what took place at that time that the report was revealed, please go over to my friend Shang Tsung's video. LowTierGod has a 10-year-old daughter and is a deadbeat dad. But like I said, there's also value in hearing from the mother herself. So here's that interview. Yeah.
And just a disclaimer again, I don't know if I'm using that word correctly, but there may be some stuff that I don't answer just because there's, some stuff's a little sensitive, but
yeah, of course.
I will try to answer.
Yeah, of course. Now it's your prerogative for you to answer as much as you deem appropriate.
Yeah, and I probably won't dox Dale,
right.
As far as I won't give his address. I won't clarify. I won't not clarify. Give his actual age. I know everyone wants to know that, but his birth certificate's been. I know that was floating around somewhere, but.
Yes, so his birth certificate did leak. But he confirmed it on multiple. He confirmed it without confirming it. I'm sure, as you know, he speaks.
he really does. Yeah, I don't know if he's doing this on purpose or if he's just not realizing it because of the world that he lives in. I don't know. Because it's a trip sometimes, and I'm listening to him, and I'm like, what are you doing?
I believe personally that his stream is his outlet because he doesn't have that many close interpersonal relationships. So he speaks very freely and openly to his stream. And so a lot of the times he will inadvertently reveal information that he would prefer to keep secret because that's the only outlet he really has to talk about these things. Yeah.
I can definitely, I could say that's probably pretty true.
Yeah, because, I don't know how long ago it was, but he also, he might have shown something that said 11/19/1984 while trying to pull up another clip, and then I just don't understand. My theory, and you can let me know if you agree, on why it seems he is so hesitant to confirm his age, because it isn't like in the age of the internet and being a content creator and a public figure, there are a lot of things that it makes sense that you would hide from the public because of, just the nature of the job, and you don't want to jeopardize your own personal safety or your family's safety. But just how old you are, without revealing the year and all that, just feels like something that most people just say, because it's pretty basic information. You can just say, I'm however old. Like me, myself, I'm 28. But that's basic information. I don't think that anybody could do anything with the number 28, just knowing that about me.
Right.
But for me, it feels that for him, it's an indictment on where he is in life, and he wants to be somewhere he's not. And so to think about going on 40 in the next 2 weeks, and not having achieved certain things bothers him. And so he wants to just not have that constantly be a reminder that people are like, oh yeah, happy 40th birthday, Dale, in the next 2 weeks, because it feels like he's not where he wants to be in his head.
Yeah. I think maybe as you get older, you just start realizing, oh shoot, I should have done this, I should have done that. So I can kind of understand where he's coming from, but with him personally, it's probably more true.
Yeah. Well,
he's
say love
not
you.
Where he wants to be.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. It's just.
it's an interesting it's an interesting aspect of his personality. But yeah, absolutely. Well, I do appreciate you taking the time to speak with me at length here, Rosalie. Before we get started, how was your Halloween? Did you and your little girl have fun?
Actually, my this is maybe one of the first years I wasn't able to trick or treat with her because I have school. And
okay.
unfortunately, Halloween is not technically a holiday, and I had a very, very major assignment that I had to start, so I couldn't get out of it. So my sister trick-or-treated with my daughter, so.
Okay.
Not too eventful for me, but she got some candy, so it
Well,
worked
that's
out.
good. Well, I'm glad she was still able to enjoy the holiday.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, we do, like I said, I do appreciate you taking the time to chat to me at length here and go over the whole thing. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. They're not going to be in the most meticulous of orders. We might, leap back and forth between concepts. I'm a rambler as well, so please don't feel self-conscious if you find yourself going on. I'm very interested. I love conversation. I'm very conversational myself. So if you find yourself going into different topics, please continue. Don't feel bad at all, because I will forget my questions and start rambling myself. But yeah, I do want to. I want to start with you as the individual. I feel like, unfortunately, with the whole drama surrounding it, you as a person kind of got lost in the whole thing, because you are still an individual. You're not just an extension of Dale. You have your own wants, your own dreams, you have your own life, your own history, your own experiences. So I do want to take time to get to know you as much as you're willing to reveal without, jeopardizing your own personal safety or things of that nature. So we understand that your name is Rosalie, and you go by Rosalie, correct?
Yeah, few people call me other nicknames, but most people call me Rosalie.
Okay, and that's your preference? You don't really care for Rosie or Rose?
Never been called Rosie, maybe once or twice. A few people call me Rose. My family calls me another name. But yeah, Rosalie or no, I don't want to say Rose. Rosalie is preference.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. So we'll go with Rosalie. Are you native to California? Is that where you've lived your whole life, or are you?
Yes, born and raised, California.
California, okay. That's fun. Nice Sunshine State.
Yes.
So, like I said, I'm 28. I don't know if you want to say how old you are. You don't have to if you don't want to.
I'm older than 28.
Okay. Okay, we'll go with that. Older than 28. But yeah, so of course, the nature of this whole situation is a bit unique, because of how it came to be. What essentially took place was sometime a few months ago, Dale got his credit report leaked because of his inability to safeguard all of his personal information. His social security, his full name, his full date of birth, and his address were online, and a member of the greater troll community was able to utilize that to go to this credit report website, pull all of his information. And the most interesting thing for a lot of people at that time, because it was sort of known that Dale was not the best with money, and that wasn't the most spectacular information, but to see that initial child support report come up on there was a huge thing for a lot of people. And for me personally, I'll go into a bit of how I came to be involved with this whole thing. This was, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago now. I had seen Dale's online personality, and for a while I thought it was just a character. And I was like, well, this is a really annoying character to play. So, but it would come up from time to time, and I'd be like, this guy's odd. But then I started to look more into his clips, and I saw that, oh no, he has like a really abhorrent, arrogant, mean personality. And a lot of the things he was saying, I thought were really nasty things, and I felt that someone should call him out on it, because at the time, the only thing people were doing was clipping the information or whatever rants he went on and posting them to YouTube channels. And so I hadn't seen a channel that went into the things he was saying and actually broke it down and talked about why he was a hypocrite or whatever. And that's how I got involved. I started creating content about that. And I spent a year doing that. Right on the dot, at a year, I stopped because I was like, I feel like I've said everything that can be said because Dale repeats himself a lot. So I kind of made a name for myself in the community. People still wanted me to come back and talk about Dale at length. And I never had a reason to until the child support information leaked. Because of all the hypocritical things I saw, this was Dale's best kept secret. There was no inkling anywhere that he had a child, and it was the most interesting thing to me. So I looked into it as well. People brought information to me, and, comme ci, comme ça, here we are. You got involved. So how was that for you? How was the initial leak? How did that affect you?
Well, I think I was like, out of all the years that I decided, because it had been, I was really going to just leave it, like, me and my daughter are surviving just fine without him. So there was never any intent on going after him, ever, because I'm not chasing after that, especially on how he is. So when I found out, I was shocked, and just a slight thought, like, how did this happen? Like, how convenient for this to just happen, right. Like within the year of me putting him on child support. Like, I don't know, maybe a little bit of me felt like, oh, somebody did this on purpose, right? And because he's been doing his thing for how many years, and never had an issue. Mm-hmm. So I kind of felt like maybe it was done on purpose. But then I was in communication with him. He said, okay, it's probably just going to pass. I said, okay. He said, your pictures are leaked. And I don't know. That felt really weird.
Right, I'm sure.
And yeah, I'm getting off track. I can't focus right now. I'm so sorry.
No, it's perfectly fine.
So I don't know. It just felt weird. I don't know. I don't know if I'm necessarily like angry at anyone specifically.
Right.
Like I'll just say the troll community. I don't know how else to like describe them, but I don't know. The only thing that I can think too is someone must have leaked the document without it being redacted, mm-hmm. because I had people find me on Facebook,
right?
And I knew it pertained to, getting this document leaked. I was like, there's no way, because it was just a splurge of people, right. Not that many people, few, but still. So I think I'm actually not a little, like, I think that's like really messed up that they exposed that document without redacting our names.
Right.
So then people found me, and I was at first, I said, okay, I'm just going to leave this alone. And then curiosity got the best of me. And I said, well, I would rather see than be blindsided, just in case.
Of course.
So I went on to the YouTube community because I felt that was where the most information that I would probably get, because I don't do Twitch. I don't do Rumble. I don't really do Discord. I only did Discord because of one of my classes. They're like, oh yeah, we're doing Discord to talk about blah, blah, blah. But I never used it. So So I was thinking YouTube's my best bet. So I see people posting, oh, I've seen the picture. So I'm trying to, and I think YouTube was like, oh, you can't say this, you can't say that. So they were like restricting my comments, I think. So I couldn't really ask people like, where did you see the picture? Where did you see the picture? So I had to research myself, and I came across, I think it's kind of like a 4chains, like chat. I don't even know what it's called. Kiwi Farms?
Yes, Kiwi
Is
Farms.
that okay? I found the chat in there, and then I saw our pictures. Yeah, and then I kind of just went from there. I don't really do Twitter or X, whoever you want to say. So I know that there's our pictures are there too, and people are posting them to him. But mainly I'm in YouTube, just finding out all the information, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just rambled, but
Got it. Okay.
yeah.
And I must say, the LA County Child Support Office is not the best with that information, because when I saw the created report, I was curious, and all I had to do was call them and ask for the documents, and they emailed it to me without much worry. So
Okay.
I had seen it. I had seen your information unredacted, but emailed directly from LA County. And I just, at the time, I had been done making content about Dale, and I would never want to, expose innocent people to the kind of people who can be on the internet. I'm sure you've seen from Kiwi Farms, the way they discuss things and how horrible they are is a lot different.
There's no filter. There's no censor.
No, not at all.
It's just raw, very raw.
I didn't. So I mean, I immediately reached out to Shang Tsung because I knew that there were only so many people in the greater community who I respected enough to know that they would respect your privacy. So I reached out to him and asked, hey, have you seen this? Have you heard about this? And he was already working on his video at the time. And we both came to the agreement that, okay, we won't say anything or show anything. We'll just talk about the stuff that Dale has already said. And while we were working on the video, then the full leak happened, and unfortunately the photos were pulled and people started posting them at that time. So we realized that, okay, well, it must not have been very difficult for people to pull the full report as well. But yeah, I understand how frightening that might have been, and to just kind of be thrust into a situation like that. But I understand you said that he reached out to you. Did he reach out to you as soon as the leak happened and said, hey, some people might be, coming to quote unquote look for you? Or did he only reach out after your name had been exposed?
Well, because I opened child support, since I opened the case, we were kind of back and forth, and we don't talk every day, please. I would never, but we were only in communications because we were talking about like the case and stuff like that.
Right.
But he reached out. I don't know the time frame, but he was just like, hey, I just want to let you know somebody got into my credit report, and then they found da-da-da-da-da. So
okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
We weren't 2023 is when we like started communications again because of me opening a case.
Got it. Okay. So let's take a break from the modern and go a little bit further back, or I guess a lot further back, to the very beginning. How did you and Dale first come to meet each other?
Okay, so I was at a kickback, like a little party, and he was a friend of the person throwing the kickback, and I don't know. I was drinking, so I'm a little bit more friendly when you drink because that's kind of how it rolls. And I saw him. I mean, he's not an ugly guy. I don't know, people may say otherwise, but I was just like, oh, I started talking to him, and he had a really deep voice, and I don't hear that often. So it's always, I'm always taken back when I hear a deep voice, but, and you have a very deep voice too, but, so we were talking, and then I don't know how long afterwards, and I've said this before in other interviews, so you may hear the same stuff, but I don't play video games. Like, I don't stream my video game playing, but I like playing video games when I have time. And I was into Borderlands when it first came out. I don't think it first came out, but I really liked it before the movie. Anyways, I haven't seen it, but I hear it's atrocious, but whatever. So he reached out because I had posted something on Facebook about Borderlands. And I'm pretty sure we were friends. Like, we became Facebook friends at some point. And then he slid into my DMs. And then we started talking about Borderlands. And then it just went from there. And then everything was history. Yeah.
Okay. And did you know him as Dale? Because he does go by DeLon Sparrow now, but did you know him? Did he introduce himself as Dale Wilson?
I'm sorry, I hate my laugh, but
no, it's a good laugh. It's not a bad laugh.
So I met him as Dale. He had the tattoos when I met him. I don't know when he first got them, but
okay.
I think he like would be like, oh, I have like different aliases or something. He's let me see. Try to frame things without like giving too much of personal. I don't know. I know that's weird, but
no, I understand.
I think in a sense he was telling me it was like one of his aliases.
Okay.
And it's strange to me. I'm going to be totally honest. It's really strange to see a tattoo that big.
Yeah,
of not your name.
Yeah, right.
But I'm a strange person myself. I'm pretty weird too. So like, I didn't think like, oh, like, I didn't think anything too much of it.
Right.
But to each their own, I suppose.
As they say.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, did I answer that question?
Yeah, no, that was perfect, yeah. Because, I mean, he has, as he does in his fashion, revealed why he is uncomfortable with the name Dale Wilson now, which, based on your explanation, it doesn't add up all the way, because you would think that if he had the tattoos at that time, he would have introduced himself as his new name, but he said on stream that he doesn't appreciate the name Dale Wilson because, one, Wilson is his father's surname and his father wasn't in his life. But, I mean, look at what he's doing now. So, I mean, repeat. And I guess he just doesn't like the first name Dale. Maybe it's a boring name to him. So he thought DeLon Sparrow would be more interesting. Or whatever his rationale was for that. But he did introduce himself as Dale, and that's how you knew him. And from there, was it a situation in which you guys were just casual, or did you guys form an official relationship to where you were boyfriend and girlfriend and would introduce each other as such, or how did that go?
Okay. I don't think... Excuse me, I should get some water.
Yeah, if you want to take a break.
No, let me just butter. Okay. Okay, relationship. It just started off like any other relationship that I've started. You know, we talk. We would go on like walks, walk around the neighborhood, and we'd have like deep conversations. And I think I don't know if we really went on that many dates. We ate at a Mexican restaurant, and it was on Mother's Day.
Okay.
And the irony, the foreshadowing happening. But the waiter comes in, he's like, "Happy Mother's Day," and I was like, "Oh no, I'm not a mother."
Right.
Woo! It's a funny thing, but so we went out to eat once that I can remember. It was really just like a regular relationship. We may have started talking about boyfriend, girlfriend. I'm not sure, but it was still really early. It just, the regular flow of how you get to know someone.
Okay.
Type thing.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And how long did that sort of? It sounds like it's more akin to like a situationship, as it were. How long did that last?
I wouldn't say situationship, because back then that really wasn't like, how that's kind of like a thing now, but
right.
like I believed we were like talking to become boyfriend and girlfriend. Like it wasn't just a oh, I'm gonna call you late at night. Like we hung out during the day. Like it wasn't a situationship. We were working on it going into a relationship. But like we started talking in March, because that's when I graduated my classes, and then back then I was doing a trade, and then we started talking, and then once I found out I was pregnant in like the beginning of September, so March, April, May, June, July, August, September, so maybe around 6 months.
Okay.
That was the bulk of our relationship, was about 6 months.
Okay. So since it was more of like a courting situation where, you're still getting to know each other and haven't fully committed to being in a full proper relationship, had you ever met his siblings or his parents?
Shoot. No. I think he barely talked about them. I don't remember too much about him talking about his family. I do remember seeing his mother on one of his like Facebook posts. So I remembered her name through that. But I don't think they're active on Facebook. So I never actually met any of his family. Yeah. Shoot, did I answer that question?
Yeah, no, that was it. So with that, do you believe that they know they have a granddaughter, his parents, or do they know they have a niece?
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if he interacts with his, like, I know there's like some stuff about him and his family. Like, I would not be able to like confirm any of that at all. But like I said, I don't know any of them.
Okay.
I've seen pictures of his father and his stepbrother, because he had a picture. He showed me. He sent me a picture of his dad and his stepbrother. So I saw what they looked like, because we were having some conversation. I just don't remember why he would send it to me. Why he sent it to me.
Got it. And you said he was. You guys had very deep conversations. Forgive me. And he likes to wax philosophical and speak about how his interests are more outside the box. Is that the sort of things you guys would speak about?
No. We were like his childhood and stuff like that.
Okay.
It wasn't like this intellect type conversations we were having. It was just regular stuff. But, he did get personal.
Okay.
Like childhood stuff.
Okay, that's understandable. Speaking about his personality, quite recently, I believe, within the last year or so, one of his roommates that he had for a while, and this would have been after your relationship with him, came forward and revealed some information about how that relationship kind of faltered between he and Dale. Some of the stuff he said was that Dale was a particularly awkward individual, not really an extrovert or a social butterfly. Is that reminiscent of the sort of relationship you had with him? Was he an awkward individual, or is he more like his stream personality?
Definitely. Well, and I'm only basing this off of the time that I spent with him.
Right.
I would say he's more relaxed. I wouldn't call him an extrovert. I'm not one. Well, I can be at times, but awkward. I don't know. It's hard to say because sometimes I'm awkward and sometimes I'm like out of the box type. So I'm not sure if I could give the best unbiased opinion of that, but he definitely is. The way that he speaks and how he is on his streams definitely is not how he was when I was with him.
Okay.
Definitely more calm and relaxed.
Okay.
At least that's what I remember in my brain.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it was some time ago. So he is more of a relaxed individual in person. We, as a community, got to see his relationship and what seemed like his relationship style over the course of a few years with the young woman he met after your relationship had ended. And there were a lot of moments where he was quite abrasive with her, even going so far as to threaten her with violence on stream in front of his audience. I understand you guys weren't ever in a full relationship, but does that sound similar to anything he displayed in the time that you were together?
I'm not sure how deep I want to go there.
Absolutely.
I never got in a physical altercation with him. I can say that.
Take your time.
I don't know. I'm not even sure what to say. He could possibly be short-tempered. But like I said, there was no physical, like he never physically hit me or anything like that. But, and if anyone's like comes more aggressive towards me, I do tend to like, how do I explain it? I don't know how to explain that, but like I try to be more joking with it.
Okay.
Because like I try not to take it to a level where it probably shouldn't go.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to get too deep into that because it's like that's my life.
Right.
And I don't want to.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
No, I understand. You're perfectly fine. I appreciate you giving me as much as you've given me so far. It's emblematic of how he has been as a person on stream. He does show a lot of his personality, and having a short fuse is something that we've seen a lot, and it does seem to be more of a verbal abuse thing, even with his ex-girlfriend or just the individuals in his chat. He can get more verbally abusive. So we've absolutely seen that aspect of his personality. But going back to the relationship, so it was from March to September, so 6 months of courting, and then you became pregnant at that point. How did that go? From there, you inform me you're pregnant, and then how does that go?
Not the best. Also, I don't know how deep I want to go here because obviously there's a lot of stuff I don't want to put out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it definitely stressful. Definitely stressful. There is like, I could make the story make more sense to people, but it's just hard for me to give that information out. One, because it's weird for me to be in the situation to begin with.
Right.
And like, I just don't want like my life out like, excuse me.
No, yeah, absolutely. I understand. It's a lot.
Only because it was very stressful. So
I understand.
Sorry.
No, yeah, take your time. Take your time. I understand. It's heavy, especially for such a vulnerable, precious time as, pregnancy. I understand.
I wouldn't want to relive it, but I never regret any of my decisions, because once you have a child, nothing else matters. Like, the past doesn't matter at all, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I'm sorry. That's like stuff I kind of don't want to get into.
Yeah, no, I understand.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I understand. And then I'll take the time to give me one moment here. Up. All right. Okay, so where were we? I'm just going through my little notepad here of everything I wanted to ask and get some. So we were at okay. So you did say that he became different and this was during that period in which you were pregnant. So when did you guys cut communication?
Let's see. It was spotty. Initially, once I said, "Hey, I'm pregnant," it kind of, it was off and on, just because hey, this is happening, or, hey, this is the sex. So it just kind of going through pregnancy. I was just kind of keeping him in the loop, even if, however, our relationship, or however we were communicating,
Right.
whether it was stressful or not, I still had to give him that information, I felt. But, so I had to just get through it. But, I asked him if he wanted to be on the birth certificate. He said no. So kind of after that, we kind of just fell off. I would hear from him every now and then, but I never asked. I never pried too much. I always was, like, if you want to meet her, you can meet her. And the only thing I asked from him from the get-go was just like, listen, I'm not going to come after you. If you want to give your time, that's all I want for our child, is for you to give time. So I've always kept the door open on that. But yeah, basically it was off, like, once she was born, and just sporadically throughout the years, every now and then I'd hear from him. But it would always end up in a fight. And so, yeah.
Okay. So when you say, so you would constantly provide him updates, throughout the pregnancy, like, hey, this is what's going on. Oh, I got the gender.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are. During that time, was he receptive, or was it always a situation in which he was saying that he just did not want to be involved?
It may have been a little bit up and down throughout. But, as he said in one of his videos about female children, and how they are a waste of life, which is the saddest thing in the world.
It is.
I did tell him gender. And then after that, we didn't really speak too much until, like, I was about ready to go into labor. And I just said, hey, if you want to be there, you can. If you want to sign the birth certificate, you can. He doesn't have his last name. So I felt in her best interest that was the right thing to do.
Right.
So maybe there was some anger there, but I felt just in what I was doing, because why would I, why would I give her your last name? But yeah, so after the gender, and then just that little communication until she was born. That was it.
Okay. I must say that's extremely... Yeah, you did. That was extremely charitable of you, for you to still provide him the opportunity to be there even after the birth, to, you know, sign the birth certificate and give him that opportunity to step up. That's charitable. A lot of people won't be so gracious, you know, dealing with someone like that. But
Right.
you said afterwards that, you know, it was, after that, it was, you know, maybe a communication or two a year. Was that a situation in which you were reaching out and providing life updates, or how was that going?
Could have been a little bit of that. Like, what does she look like, or, you know, stuff like that. It was very short lived. Those communications were very short lived because I had very little tolerance of bullshit.
Right.
So, and I still, even then, you know, I never said you couldn't. So, couldn't meet her or see her or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, just a little tiny communication. And it was probably just like, well, what does she look like?
Good. Okay. And you said it was short lived. How long would you say you continued your attempts with that?
Like a day or two, and that was it.
Okay. So it wasn't like an annual thing, like, oh, she's 2 now, she's 3 now, or something like that?
Oh, it was never like on a specific day or anything, but, you know, maybe once a year kind of reach out, maybe.
Okay. And you said you would fight in those times. Was it more of a anger with his lack of interest, or was he being more abrasive when you would reach out?
Just because, like, at that point, I just knew that he was not someone that I just didn't want to put up with anything. Like, if he had anything bad to say or something, I just didn't put up with it. So that's probably why it was short lived.
Okay, makes sense. So that went on for quite some time, and then in 2023, you opened up the child support case. What prompted that? Because as far as I understood from your prior interviews, you hadn't taken anything from him or requested anything from him because you didn't need anything from him.
Right. And what I wanted, he never gave. So, I think, I don't know, maybe like one of the times that we did have our little conversation, maybe he said something about being famous or something, and I was like, whatever. So I kind of brushed it off, but you know, curiosity is a very powerful thing.
Of course.
So I did look a little bit, and I was like, oh, okay. You know, you're not like Will Smith or anything, but
that's a very specific example. He does love Will Smith.
yes. Hopefully, I didn't. I might have irked a nerve there, but so I saw a few. I honestly, I don't know the first time that I heard him talk or like say it on a video about like female daughters.
Mm-hmm.
It probably was a little bit of that for sure. And then just like how terrible he would speak about women. And I was like, how I was just, I don't know. I felt like I needed to hold him accountable for like, and I'm thinking to myself, how can you, excuse me, how can you say these things when you know what you know? It's just like,
right.
I wanted him to be held accountable, excuse me. And I felt like that was the best option at the time to do that. Otherwise, I mean, if I would have just not looked, I would have never known, I suppose. Well, what he was saying in the videos are past conversations. I knew kind of who he was, I suppose, after everything went down. So nothing really shocked me per se, but for him to say it on a video where other people were watching, it's weird. I didn't like it. No. And I don't know, maybe some people can look at it as spite, maybe, but it's just, I think I had a breaking point at some point. I don't know what all the videos I watched or whatever, or what was even being said. We probably had a conversation. Oh gosh. Yeah, there was an event that happened, and we got into a conversation. And that conversation did not go well. Okay. That may actually have been the tipping point, to be honest. Yeah, I think it was. And I don't want to really go too much into it. I think it was around the Super Bowl. I don't know which year, I can't remember. Maybe 2022.
Okay.
Maybe. We had conversation that was probably the tipping point. But I still, the videos that I've watched, up to that point, because I know this past year, like, it's gotten even progressively worse. And I'm sure, I don't want to say the word projection, but anyways, yeah, I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, no, that definitely helps paint a picture. So I understand that, that was that frustration, that catalyst to push you even further. I imagine seeing the clips on top of it didn't help because you understood that he wasn't speaking in a vacuum. There was real life that was also behind some of his ire. But as far as we saw when we looked at the credit report, we also saw that there was an inquiry from a SoCal law firm. It's William J. Zutzius Jr. or something, who specializes in judgment enforcement. So when you took him to child support or family court to get that child support order placed against him, I'm assuming that he did get the judgment placed against him, but he wasn't complying with it, and so you needed to enforce it?
That, I'm not quite sure per se, because like when you open a case, they have you pay from the month that you open the case, or that let me see if I'm saying this right. Like, you file, okay, and then you start getting paperwork from them. I don't know the exact date, but I think it was around, I don't even remember, but they started, okay, he has to pay starting at this month. And then we were still going through, it. Like, the judgment hadn't been made at that point, so it collected. It was month after month, so it was just collecting.
Okay.
But then I think the judgment was made, and then I think I may have reached out to him and was like, hey, I want you to know that, like, this is not going to just go away. They're going to follow you. And I don't want it to accumulate to where you're drowning. Like, I just wanted to give him a heads up, like, right, to not be blindsided. because I don't know if he got notification like, hey, you know, payment starts now. I don't know what was sent to him besides like, oh, this is being sent to the other party. Like some of the documents said, oh, they have a copy of this. But as far as like them telling him, oh, you have to start paying now, I have no idea. When he found out what his total was or whatever.
So he
as far as a lot
showed up in court, like in physically in court with you.
We never. If they sent, because I had my really good friend going through this with me, and we were looking through the papers, and I could not find, like, usually you're like supposed to see the judge and they make the judgment, but I couldn't find a date anywhere. And if they sent me a paper, I never got it. So the judgment was made without us being seen by the judge.
Okay. Got it. Did he ever actually pay anything?
Yes.
Okay. And that was, this was after, like, you officially opened up the child support case, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing, he never paid me anything prior to the case being opened.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Well, I know you've been looking at some of his content out of curiosity, and some of the clips around some of the things you were speaking on. And I know you said that you recognized me from Shang Tsung's video. In that video, we did provide some clips where he had said, and we never believe anything he says, but he had said that the reason, kind of hinting at his own situation, that he felt that he didn't have to be involved and give you time was because there was the financial onus on him to pay for the child. But you're saying that he never gave you time all the way up until you put him on child support. So he's lying. He's using this as some kind of false justification for why he didn't get involved.
Yeah, I don't know what would possess him to say that. Whether it was to cover himself or what. I don't know. But yeah, there was no time given and there was no money exchanged. So I don't know why he would say that.
Okay, because his rationale has been, oh, it's not fair to force someone to be financially responsible for a child. If he was provided with the option to spend time with the child and help raise the child and guide the child, that would be the option he would have taken. But clearly, he has never tried to do that, and that's why you've had issues with him, and that's even why you decided to open up the case, because your frustration with that.
Right, yeah. It was never about like the money. It was just basically accountability and but I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. So going a little bit deeper into the accountability thing, what are you looking for moving forward? Do you think or want him to acknowledge his role and try to become a part of yours in the child's life moving forward, even if it's a minute part moving forward? Or have you completely closed the door on that and you are just coming out now to say it's all true and he can't deny me or her anymore?
Maybe subconsciously I feel like we were brought here and we were put on display, and I'm we're not going to be denied again, you know. I don't know, subconsciously maybe it's just you can't do it twice. You can't do this to us twice.
Right.
But I will always have that door open. By this past year with the videos that I've seen, I definitely would prefer them not to meet.
Right.
But if he ever wanted to and she pushed me on it, yes, of course, for sure. But for her mental health, I hope she doesn't ask me to push that subject. But if that time comes, I will do what I have to do, and it doesn't matter about me. And I will accommodate her as best as I can. But yeah, there's nothing gonna come from him that's gonna enrich her life. So we are fine where we're at.
No, absolutely. And outside of that, my own curiosity was, has this been a situation in which now you're more consistently seeing these clips and stuff, or seeking them out and just kind of watching how he is as an individual as more of an educational thing, or have you just seen what you needed to see and you kind of don't want to see anything any more from that?
I definitely had my fair share. So, yeah, I have a set, what is the word I'm thinking of? I have already permanently associated him with who he is, by how he's been and who he continues to be. So, gosh, I lost my train of thought again. I'm sorry.
No, I understand. So you've basically said that it's kind of solidified for you in your mind that he's not a different person. He hasn't grown with age, become more wise or more kind-hearted. He still has those same negative thoughts.
I do like to always try to see the bright side of things, and even in the most craziest, darkest environment. So even in his case, I do have some optimism there. But I'm not delusional, like, to think that, oh yeah, he's going to change.
Right.
I'm optimistic that he could, and I think everyone can, even, the worst of the worst people. But yeah, I hope he does. I really, truly hope he changes how he's speaking with his audience. I hope he lessens that hate and realizes that, you can have a following without being so hateful, and you don't have to keep up with, I don't know. It's this like peer pressure thing of like, well, everyone's doing it, so I have to, fit in this way.
Right.
Like, just, I don't know, if he feels like this is his creation and he has to continue with it. Like, if he has to just see it through, I'm like, I hope you can open your eyes and realize what you've created and, the effects it's having on people. And you wouldn't have this big following of trolls, if that half the stuff you say is it makes sense as why there's such a big following of people that I'll say the troll community. I understand, you know. I hope that he lessens his hateful speech.
Yeah. And I've said it before myself that I believe that he would be far more successful if he wasn't so hateful in the way he spoke about things and a lot of the rhetoric he spreads throughout the internet, the misogyny, his anti-black rhetoric he quite often spreads, just all of that. If he was kinder to the people around him, I think he would be monumentally far more successful, and I think he'd have a lot more opportunities. And it's unfortunate that... Go ahead, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I don't know if, you know, this is just like his way of coping, you know, like, well, my life gave me this, so I'm going to cope and nobody's going to be able to hurt me. And maybe it's just the lack of showing vulnerability. Like, maybe that's something he can't process is vulnerability. And that definitely, if he just gives a little bit of vulnerability and, you know, tries to understand what he's doing, I think he could definitely, you know, done way better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I believe he's been hurt in the past, and I think he's unfortunately and incorrectly attributing all of his hurt to entire swaths and groups of people, as opposed to separating those individuals as individuals who have hurt him and looking at the greater communities as people who are still worth respect and love, unfortunately. Because I understand the frustration that comes from his father not being a part of his life, and that shapes his worldview a lot. And the fact that he feels that he would be in a better position if his father had taken more time and interacted with him more, and, you know, that bothers him. But to use that to be more angry at the world and then repeat the same hurt on your own child, you know, the famous saying, hurt people.
Absolutely.
It's unfortunate that he's perpetrated or perpetuated such vitriol throughout the internet, and now he has, you know, he's a relatively youthful audience based on his metric, and I hate to see these young people, you know, getting this message of hate is the way to live and to go with that, and it's truly unfortunate.
Yes. Very, very, very. It's a shame.
Yeah, but as it were, you are, you know, unfortunately, now a part of the community in some sense of the world. I know after this you probably want to fade into the ether, but what yes, is it?
I'd love to.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is that what you want? Do you want to just, after this, I know you said this would be your last interview, just disappear and go back to how things were before his credit report leaked and everything, and just not be bothered again?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I probably will hang around just a teeny bit, only because my main focus, I would say, in this community is just looking out for identifiable information, whether it be anything about her life or her picture. If it's circulated, that's where I can't be silent. I will definitely try to figure out how to get that taken care of. Because I'm not that savvy with that kind of shit. Excuse me, stuff.
No, absolutely.
But yeah, I'm definitely, literally, there's nothing else I could say. Like, I think what I've given is the most that anyone's going to get out of me.
Right.
Out in the community. Like in real life, if you know me, it depends. But that's it. Like, I have nothing really to say, but I just want to stick around maybe just for a little bit, hoping that, I don't know, hopefully people will be respectful and, it's a child and that she doesn't need to be involved. Absolutely. And so for the most part, there's one person that has our picture still up as their profile picture. And I don't know what type of movement I'm getting on that. For the most part, people are very understanding and they're like, yeah, we're not gonna say her name. I have said her name in comments, so I guess I should not have done that, but I know her name is out. But yeah, just as long as people just don't attach her at all to any of the videos in an identifiable way, because I know that some people are using pictures that kind of look like her, but that's definitely more of a general sense, so I'm not really upset with that so much. And I am confirming, like, that picture of him holding an infant is not, I mean, obviously not his child.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely don't want to be that active after this.
And you kind of gave a message, and of course I'll do, if you'll have me, I'll do my best to try to aid in getting as much of yours and her information removed as best as we can. There have been people who've messaged me and been like, hey, have you seen pictures of her and stuff? And I've told them, hey, I'm not going to tolerate it. I'll block you if you try to post stuff. I suggest you don't post anything that's not the right thing to do. So as anyone I've communicated with in relation to this, I've advised them that we have to, Dale is the problem, and there's no need to negatively impact your or her life. But overall, if you had one message you could just send to all people in this community about what your desire is moving forward and what you'd like to see and not see, what would that message be?
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe like if he actually starts to like soften up a little bit, I don't know. I mean, I know people are going to feel how they feel about him, but like maybe give him space to do that. I don't know. It's a really weird thing that I'm saying here, but like if he's trying to soften up and not be this person that everyone hates, like I hope people can give him the space to do that. I know that sounds weird. Again, I just said that, but I don't know. Maybe more so for him. That's my thought for him, because maybe he does want to change, and it's really hard to change, especially if, you have such a big group of people that don't like you, and they're going to take every single thing that you say and use it against you. But like, if you're trying to soften your image, like maybe he won't, because people will just continue to keep attacking him. So he puts up that defense. So if there's a tiny little light of him trying to break through, I hope people will try to let him do that without like hating on him. I don't know. That's a weird thing to say. But also the other thing too is just don't. It's weird because like now, like on Instagram, I won't post pictures of her like face. Like if I do post something, I'm gonna try to make sure I don't have, you know, the frontal image.
Right.
Because I do like, I mean, I'm not that social on social media, but I don't want to be like totally limited because of this situation. But if I do happen to post a picture, you know, just I guess I have to personally really regulate what I'm doing. I have to be more aware of what I'm doing. But yeah, just keep her out of, you know, your trolling. That's all. That's my end game for that, for sure.
Right. And that's a perfectly reasonable request. So in relation to these interviews, has he reached out? Has he said anything to you at all?
Let my silence be the answer on that one.
Okay. Okay, I understand. Well, overall, I think that's all my questions. I definitely do appreciate your time. It does mean a lot for you to take this whole hour with me and go over the whole story from beginning to end here. But I do wish the best for you and your little girl, and I hope that it all blows over. It seems like it's starting to go that way.
Yeah.
It seems like people are starting to lose interest with the whole thing, and I'm glad for that. So hopefully in perhaps the new year, you know, you go back to your normal life and don't have to hear about this nonsense or have people bothering you about this nonsense anymore.
Definitely. Hopefully that's the new year will bring that. My fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. All right, well, thank you again, and I'll end the recording. Everything you just heard is true. LowTierGod has gone great lengths to keep this information hidden, but he can't do that anymore. Rosalie does not want this hidden. It is not right for LowTierGod to attempt to reject them. If he doesn't want to be a part of their lives, then so be it. But to reject their very existence is a step too far. But please, as she said, leave them out of it moving forward. She does not want to be involved in the greater LowTierGod discourse anymore. Please don't go posting their photos or any of their personal information. There are a lot of innocent parties involved in this, and there needs to be no more further harm to any of them. All in all, LowTierGod is the problem. Dale Wilson is the problem. Dale Wilson is a horrendous, embarrassing, deadbeat father, and we can only hope that at some point in his miserable life that he does the right thing for his daughter. Thanks for watching. Behave yourself.